Hi, welcome back to Knit for Brains podcast. I'm Laura Brady.
And I am not Karen Miller, nor Alisha Gifford, for that matter. So I'm Brett, her husband.
/ producer and editor and all that stuff. This is episode 139 of our knitting, crafting, crocheting, whatever we're up to podcast. We are located in Bradley, Illinois, which is 60 miles south of Chicago. You can find us on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, and also Knit for Brains Designs on Etsy. I won't even ask where to find you.
Nowhere.
Okay, now Laura's texting. My fill-in Karen, can we have a weather report?
It's been pretty mediocre. We actually had several hot days in May, and I actually just read something the other day about that they're saying that June is going to be relatively cooler.
Good.
So, weather in Illinois, never know what it's going to be.
That would make your wife happy if it's cooler.
Yeah, seeing that it was only 81 today when we were out, and she said it was hot. So,
guys, it was hot. Anytime I'm glistening, it's too hot. And I was glistening. So, there's that. Alrighty. So, we've done a couple updates in the shop. There's a few of the new bags left. There's still plenty. There's some sock bags in there still, medium bags. There's some yarn in there. Let me show you what we have left from the last 2 updates that you guys might not have seen. You're kind of noisy today, Karen.
don't call me Karen.
You're not a Karen?
No.
That has so many meanings behind it. We're going to start with sock size bag. So these are new to the shop. These are, what do we call them? Star gnomes, I think. That's how we have it listed. The top is also the fabric that is on the inside. This is our sock size, which is obviously really good for socks, fingerless mitts, hats, anything small or smaller you can put in there. I have 2 of those. I guess that's all the sock ones we had left, huh? All right, medium drawstring. Moving right along. This one is really pretty.
And very colorful.
Yes. The butterflies, and each side is different. And then the inside is also the pink. Now, this is definitely a good size bag. These are always kind of hard to show you, but I mean, it's roomy. Shawls, 2 skein projects, has a nice big boxed bottom. So I have 1 of those left. And then the most sought after bags right now, the wireframed. We have the Star Gnomes in it. It has a sparkly gold zipper pull. You get the handles. There's a good size box bottom. And I will open it up. With the wireframe, when you open these,
It's gigantic.
yes. And you can leave it sitting, and it will actually stay open for you. So, like, if you want it sitting on the couch or whatever next to you, it'll stay open for you. And, guys, it is huge. The one I had, I was actually able to have it was like 6 skeins of DK weight yarn and my sweater in it, and I still had room. So this is a really, really large bag. And they don't usually stay in the shop very long, do they, honey?
Nope. They do not.
Definitely one of the more popular ones. So I only have 2 of the Starry Gnomes left.
Star Gnomes.
Star Gnomes, yes.
Not Starry.
Why do I want to keep saying Starry? And then the next one we have is, I gotta say, one of my favorites. Because to me, it just pops. What do we call this one? Stars and Stripes. And it has a red glittered zipper pull. Words today. I'm having issues. Let me open it up so I can show you the inside. Look at that big boxed bottom. This one would be good for 4th of July, but it'd also be good for all year long. And it's got the red inside. I only have 2 of these left as well. There will be more wireframes added in periodically. It takes me a little bit longer to make this style, so 2 of those.
You want all them over here?
Yes, please. Oh, okay. So that's Knit for Brains Designs on Etsy. So that's shop news. Knitting. Do you have any faux, honey?
No.
Actually, you do, but we don't have any over. You did finish something for, well, it was actually for the shop.
I've been working on drill adapters, so yeah. Made a bunch more pink ones, so.
And how do you make those?
3D printed. They're made out of plastic and little metal drill bits, so.
And that's for if you have the Stanwood ball winder. It hooks onto it and a drill. And then you can just squeeze the trigger and it will cake your yarn without you having to do this and having sore muscles later.
And shoulder pain.
Yeah, because it does get to you after a while, doesn't it?
I know when I used to try to do it, it would get to my shoulder the most.
Which
So,
I have to say, because he was working in this last 2-week time period, I believe I have probably caked up at least 6 skeins by myself.
for a change.
For a change. Because usually he is the one where I'm like, okay, I need some yarn caked. And he comes in and just, and he's, you know. All right, let me show you my FOs. Which, you know, I don't know what's in any bag. Okay. The yarn. Don't tell me I lost the... Nope, I see the label. Which you will not be able to get because she just announced she is no longer dyeing yarn. Ancestral Yarns is who it was from. And doesn't have a colorway on it. I think it was one of the... It might have been one of her monthly ones. I don't know. It doesn't say on there, but it was really bright. And I didn't really use a ton of it, so I could do some shorty socks or some journey socks with the leftover for sure, because there's quite a bit left. Probably, would you say at least half or more?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about half, I would think. So this, I was knitting a hat, and I wrote the name somewhere. And the lady had posted on Instagram that she did have it on sale, or it was for sale, on her Ravelry and I think possibly Etsy. But then she was kind of doing a, I forgot what she called it. But it was basically like a test knit via Instagram. So she gave you like the first few steps and then gave you like a week and then she'd post the next few steps. So I went ahead and decided to do that. The maker is Disturbing the Fleece and the hat is Not Too Tart. And I did the test. I didn't actually go and purchase it, so I didn't really have an actual pattern to show. Now, I did show this last time, and last time I was right there. So I've knit all of this, and this is kind of hard to... I don't have Karen here to put it on her hat on her head. There we go. So this is what it looks like, and it has that design all the way around it. That's the crown. So yeah, got that all finished. And that was a really quick knit. And it was one you didn't have to, it was, and I don't say this very often, it was help me. I could remember it. Memorizable. There we go.
I had no idea where you were going.
You didn't have to keep looking at the pattern because once you got into it, it was basically just 2 different rows that you kept repeating, and this was a really good knit. Even with my shows that I have to pay more attention to, like I didn't really have to pay attention to hats, so it worked out really well, and I think that's part of the reason why I got done so fast. Because when I started it, I was like, yeah, this is going to take me a while because it is just sock yarn. And typically I do not like making hats out of sock yarn because they take forever. But this one literally flew off the needles. So it's going to go into the gift bin, I believe. I don't really have plans for it, so there's that.
Things fly right off my needles, too.
Do they?
No, because I don't knit.
You tried once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me.
When we were out for Mexican and there was some alcohol involved. It was kind of funny. But he does know, like, a lot of the knitting terminology. So, like, the other night I told him, well, I had to unknit this. And he's like, oh, you mean you had to tink it? So he has picked up the terminology. So you will be seeing this yarn again because once I finish the Journey socks that I'm working on, I will go ahead and start a pair of Journey socks with this since it's already caked and it's already out. Then I don't have to cake yarn or bother him to cake yarn for me. So that's one FO. I don't have as many FOs this time because I know I didn't have a whole lot to show for the shop, but I had done a lot of sewing. Were those monthly gnome bags when we did the stars and stripe bags, or did we actually have 3 updates?
I think it was 3.
Okay, yeah, so we've had 3 updates. So, yeah, there was a lot of sewing involved. Let's see what else. Oh, we'll do this one. This one's really quick. It's a dishcloth. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's Knit Picks Dishy yarn. Grandma's favorite dishcloth is the pattern, which is free. Just Google it and it will pop up. I do it exactly to pattern. There's 2 versions. Some people do it without the yarn overs in it. So you don't have this right here. I go ahead and do the yarn overs. This is just another quick, easy one for when you're watching something on TV or riding in the car. Because, I always knit in the car.
Always.
Well, and people always ask me how I get so much knitting done. Would you like to explain it to them?
That's all you do, 24/7.
If I'm sitting, I'm knitting.
Well, I'm surprised that you don't do it while you're laying in bed trying to sleep.
Yeah, if I kept knitting in the bedroom and knit when I couldn't sleep, oh my gosh, would I have finished projects?
But I would probably have to poke you with one of your needles. Because you'd, I'm sure, be keeping me awake.
Click, 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 click. Not to mention, depending on what I'm working on, I might need a little light. Although light doesn't tend to bother you when you sleep like it bothers me. Nope. Somebody turns the light on, I know instantly. All right.
My eyes are closed.
I still see that light, though.
Doesn't bother me.
You're just an odd duck. Quack, quack. All right. Next up is another pair of socks for Phil. The main yarn is Arkansas Yarn Co. on her Yummy DK. And the colorway was not marked on here, but I believe it's because it came with the last book. Something about latte. I can't remember. Yeah, it was something about latte, I believe. Which I was seeing that there's going to be that there's another book coming out. So there'll be another set with a matching yarn to the cover. Ooh, hello.
So it's a 3rd book?
Yeah, it'll be a 3rd book. Yeah. And the books are really good. I should have brought one in. I didn't think about it, but if you've watched the podcast for a while, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't and you're curious, you can always ask me. Leave a comment or contact me on Instagram. So for the heels, toes, and cuffs, I use Mad Tosh Dr. Zhivago. And I don't have the actual vault of leftover to show you because I started a new pair of socks with that. But you'll see it in just a second. I use the pattern I've been using. DK wide rib socks. My sock blocker is not big enough for his big feet. But it is at least, look at it. It at least makes it easier for me to show you. So the gray is the Mad Tosh that she sent along to go with that. And I do have the second one done. So this will make, I know some of you guys are yelling, I know how many it makes, but I don't remember. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes pair number 6. For Phil's bag of socks for Christmas. So there's definitely not going to be any problem having 12 of them done. I will probably actually end up having more than 12. So there's that.
I'm sure.
They look a little crazy when you look at them like that. Not on a sock blocker because they're just so long. It's a little nuts. All right. And those are my biggest sock blockers I think I have, and they still don't net quite enough. Alright, I have one more. Oh, okay. I know what it is. I can't remember what it was. I switched it. I had it in my wired frame bag, and when I finished that, I switched it to my Knit for Brains bag, so I could use my wireframe bag for something else. Because I have only kept one wireframe bag for myself so far, and I think I need more. Just saying. Alright, so I've shown you guys this before. It is the No Need to Panic sweater by Casapinka. There's options for long sleeves, a regular short sleeve, and then there's a new option that she just added, I don't know, fairly recently, with a puffy short sleeve. And for anybody wondering, or anybody newer to knitting, or haven't done a sweater, this is a very easy sweater. This is very beginner friendly. I don't want to, well, I can show you finishing. Her patterns are really nice, where they have the little squares, so as you do a step, you can check mark it off that, hey, I'm done with that, so it's very easy to keep track of. Casapinka patterns, I've done a ton of them, and they're super easy to understand, and yeah, so I really enjoy those. The yarn, I think I actually lost the label for. It's Barocco DK, and I don't know if it had a colorway or not. If it did, it would have been in the last episode, because I think I lost the ball bands after I recorded last time. And I was holding it double because the DK was just really thin. It was not a regular DK weight, at least not to me. This is what I have left, so I'll have to, at some point, figure out something to do with that. The sweater has the ends woven in. It has not been blocked, so it is what it is. Oh. Let me switch it this way, because there's my progress keeper at the bottom. So I did from the progress keeper down the ribbing, and then I did the arms, and then the top, the boy, I'm having issues with words today.
Lace? No.
It's not really lace. The patterning, we'll just say, that'll even show up more too once it's blocked, although it shows up fairly good on the camera. Like when you're up next to it, it's just kind of a jumble, at least to me, but on the camera it's showing really good. So, now I will say with this pattern, once you finish the yoke, they tell you to knit X amount of inches from the armpit to the bottom. Thankfully, I tried it on. because it would have been a crop top for me. I had to literally add another 3 to 4 inches to make it long enough. And I will still, when I block it, I am going to block it as long as I possibly can. So if you are knitting this, you definitely want to put it on waste yarn or whatever and try it on. Because, at least for me, how many inches they told you to knit was not enough. So, there's that. That was a big one off.
Which is kind of surprising, because you don't tend to get your height in your upper part, it's in your legs. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, but it was, and even with what I added on, it's still, like, it's not long. Like, it doesn't go over my butt or anything for the 4 inches that I've put on. Like, it'll be right at my waistband, basically, of my pants. So, I said I will get a little bit more length once I block it, but not a whole lot, because this, the DK cotton isn't like, I mean, there's some stretch to it, but there's not as much as like if you were doing sock yarn or something like that. So, and you can kind of see how, I mean, it's not overly long to look at it neither. So imagine it without those 3 to 4 extra inches. It might have been long enough for Peanut.
Or a belly shirt for you.
Well, and that's what I said. It was like a crop top, and I'm too old and too big for that. Ain't no crop top going on this body. No. People do not want to see that stuff. Okay, we'll really quick do our 1 coupon code, and then we'll move on to whips. Amanda Rake Cole on Ravelry. If you use code KFB19, you will receive 20% off any of her patterns. If you are a maker or designer and would like to offer a coupon code to your shop or Ravelry, just contact Knit for Brains on Instagram. Okay, I need a little sippy sip. A lot of talking going on. I'm just drinking water, guys. Nothing exciting today. All right. I have a hoe, but I don't know what bag it is in, so we'll just start grabbing bags for whips, because it's a hot mess over here. Alrighty. Up next, which I guess I don't have the picture, which is fine because I've shown it a gazillion times, is the Journey Socks. Oh, this is my hoe. I actually did pick up the right one. Let me see if I have a... Although my ends are not woven in. I figure I'll wait until I get the second one done. So, the Journey Sock.
And very sparkly.
Yes. Gotta love the sparkle. Not as sparkly as some of the yarn I've had. It's kind of light. It's lighter.
Pretty sparkly to me anyway, but...
No, you're a guy, though. The yarn is Tinsel Tree from Nomadic Yarns. Laura had sent me half the skein. So I had finished that first one. And when we were out and about, I don't know, the other day, I started the second one. And it's not really far. Okay, here we go. It's this way. So I got the little heel done, because you start with the heel first. So that should definitely be done next time, because this will go with us tomorrow when we go up north thrifting. What?
It'll go everywhere.
Well, you know, I tend to bring socks is the main thing I bring with when we are out and about. So it went out to eat with us yesterday.
She got mad one time last summer, I think it was, or something, and She didn't bring any knitting because we were going to just run and do something real quick, and there really wasn't. We were on the motorcycle. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't knit, surprisingly enough, when she's on the motorcycle.
I'm thinking I could, though, folks. As long as it wasn't DPNs or I made sure I really stuck them into my hair when I wasn't using them. But anyhow.
But she got mad because I then said something about, why don't we just stop over here and get something to eat? And then she kind of just snapped on me. Well, I don't have my knitting with me. I'm like, really? So we can't go eat because you don't have knitting?
Nope, and we came back home. Nope. I've got to have my knitting. Not to mention, certain restaurants, if we went into and I did not have my knitting with, I think the people would have a heart attack. They'd be like, why aren't you knitting? Although sometimes we go and nobody says a word, so it just really depends.
The lady at Hoppy Pig always does, though.
Yes. Though she's gotten into my bags, too. She likes to see... There went my DPN. I didn't know it was in my lap. She likes to see, what bag... It's under your feet. She likes to see what bags I'm using. Where was I at? I told you I was somewhere the other day. And I had the Dr. Pepper bag with me. Oh, some kids, teenagers. Or whatever. I was at Knit Night at Barnes & Noble's, and I had this with me, and there was two teenage girls at the other table, and as they were getting ready to leave, they're like, I really like your bag. So people tend to notice my bags all the time. All right. Next up, we'll just stay with the theme of Dr. Pepper.
Ugh.
Guys, would you tell him that he's just wrong?
23 flavors, and they still couldn't get it right.
That's what he always says. Now, everybody out there is going, what's wrong with you? Somebody's going to agree and be like, Brett's right.
I'm not really a pop person anyway anymore.
But if he was going to drink pop, it would not be Dr. Pepper. No. One time when we were in Vegas, and we were walking the strip, and he was like, I am so thirsty. Oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty. And I had a bottle of Dr. Pepper, and there was, maybe that much in there. And I kind of looked at it, and I looked at him, and I'm like, I should offer him some, but I don't want him to drink it because I want it. But then I'm like, well, he's not going to drink it. It's Dr. Pepper. But he was really thirsty, so I was like, do you want my Dr. Pepper? And he actually thought about it for a second. That's how thirsty he was.
But I still decided I would rather die than to drink that. So there's that.
You're so wrong. I don't know. We are so opposite, folks. It is not even funny. So this whip came out of timeout. Let's discuss it. It's been a bit since I had it out. The yarn I'm using... What is with me and the tags lately? Oh, Karen would be on my butt about this one. Oh, I found it. Is yarn that I purchased when we were in Vegas. When we went to Mad Knitter's Yarn. It is called Country Fair, and it is by Sparger Yarn Company.
Sure.
I don't know why I keep feeling like I'm messing that up, and somebody told me I was saying it right, so look how pretty it is. And I have 2 skeins of this. And I've had it set aside because this was quite a few trips ago.
Well, we haven't been to Vegas. And
we only went to that particular yarn store that one year. So it's been quite a few years. But I knew what I was going to make with it. I just hadn't been moving very quickly, I guess, on it. And it is the Lounging Top by Joji Locatelli. So it looks like that. And I had a little bit of a blip in the beginning, we'll call it. My brain doesn't work quite like Joji's. And I got stuck on part of it. I made it past that part, but then I was kind of like over it. And thinking, do I go on? Is there going to be a step coming up that I don't understand? Because, she writes a certain way and my mind works a different way. So it sat for a while. So I finally got it out this afternoon while he was out power washing, but we'll cover that in chit chat. And started working on it. So, and it's like really rolly, but where the progress keeper is, I knit all of that. So basically I am knitting this for like 6 inches and then it gets put on hold. And I want to say this is the back. And then I have to pick up stitches and do the front, and you have some stuff to do before you actually join in the round. So I'm not looking ahead at the directions, so I don't put in a timeout again. I'm just going to kind of do it step by step. step by step. So we'll see if I actually ever finish this or not. It's one of those ones where, I don't know. It's like I wanted it, and then I was like, when I hit that spot where I didn't understand. We'll see what happens. It'll either get finished or it'll get pulled out and be used for something else. So there's that. I need to put a zipper pull on this bag. It's the only thing. I'm really funny about that. I like something to like be able to grab onto, you know? What else we got? I'm afraid if I take one thing out, everything's gonna fall. All right. So I moved the poncho for Alisha into my wireframe bag. And I do not have a picture of the poncho because this was an MCal and it was coming out in clues. Now I did notice when I went to print the last clue, now they have it as a whole entire pattern. But I only have a few sections left, so I'm not going to print a whole pattern. I'm just still printing it by clues. And that's even if I need to print it, because some of it's so easy I don't need to. It is Pinions by Casapinka. I am on section... I don't know. Oh, wait. This is what happens when there's clues. Oh, I got hungry when I was babysitting the kids. I was stealing fruit snacks. I'm on section 16. I want to say there's 20 or 22 sections. Something like that. I am using yarn from an Advent from Lollipop Girl Yarns. Let me see if I can find the front of this thing. It's getting big. Alright. I didn't do a whole ton of work on it, but where my progress keeper is over there, no, over there, kind of jingle it to the top is what I knit on it this time. And as you can see, it is getting big. So it's going to end up being a big rectangle, and you block it. And then somehow, because I haven't even printed the clue yet, you connect it, and it becomes a poncho. So you can just pull it over your head and wear it. And that is for Alisha. Hence the bright, crazy colors. Which she knows I'm making it. Because I was going to do a sweater for her, a scrappy sweater. And I said, well, would you sooner have this poncho? And she's like, oh, yes. So I want to say she at one point either bought yarn for a poncho or started a poncho, and she hasn't finished it. Kind of like her... I can't remember if it's a So Faded or another shirt. She has a sweater that's like literally almost done. If she'd work on it, it would be. But okay, we're getting there. In my moo-moo bag, as I call it. Oh, okay, this is a new cast on. I had told you about it previously. Let me find the yarn band. The yarn is from Arkansas Yarn Co. Now this is some sparkly yarn.
Yes, indeed.
So see why I said the other wasn't quite sparkly?
Well, it still was,
yeah.
But...
Guys, did you see my new nails? I don't even think you ever looked at them. So the yarn is Arkansas Yarn Co. And this is her Yummy Sparkle. And the name of it is Butt Bustin' Betty. Arkansas Yarn Co. She has her own website. She also has an app in the App Store, which makes it even easier to shop if you download that. What I am knitting is the Scotch Broom. Yes, the Scotch Broom. It is made to be a crop. I am not doing it crop. I will be making it longer. So, that's what it looks like. And I'm not too gosh awfully far on it. I'm on the first piece because yet again you do a front and a back and then you join. So let me see. Trying to figure out which side is which because I sure did not mark it. It would be this way. So this is the start of it, and then when it's blacked, it's even gonna open up even more. So I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more repeats of this to do, and then like an inch of just plain knitting, and then this gets put on a hold, and I start it again. I'm not doing as many repeats of this. I'm doing one short from what they recommend because otherwise the holy stuff will be down too low. It'll end up in an odd spot. And I know this because I tried on Jess's from Arkansas Yarn Co. when we were in Arkansas, and I like the way hers fit me. So when I started this, I had texted her and asked her how many repeats she did. And she's like, oh, I did da-da-da repeats and an inch of knitting. I'm like, okay, perfect. That's what I'll do then. So it's nice when you know somebody else that has knit it and you were able to try on theirs. Then I don't even, I mean, mine will be a little bit different, I'm sure, because our knitting gauge would be different. But, all right.
And you always knit so tight.
I haven't been quite as tight as what I used to be. I'm starting to loosen up, but it's probably the wear and tear on my hands. Crochet. Alright, I did a little work on my scrappy blanket. So, where my progress keeper is, and of course, I did it the whole length of it. So this is going to be a bright and pretty blanket. It's going to be a couch blanket for Karen on her recliner. And she'll probably use this one and the other one we have there, knowing her. And a Snuggie.
Because it's always so cold.
It's not cold in here. If anything, it's warm. And this I'm just using random minis and leftovers. There's some, it is all sock yarn. No, I'm not holding it double, just doing it single. Had I hauled it double, it probably would have went a lot faster, but that's okay. And there's even some sparkle in there. I'm just, whatever I have in the bag, I just throw on in there. And that's kind of just a long-running project. Now I just zipped yarn up in the zipper.
Way to go.
Way to go. You don't want to make a Karen comment. She's always like, oh, that's going to fall.
It's stacked pretty well.
Yeah. All right, up next. Oh, my new pair of socks for Phil. And now I can actually make sure I told you the right pattern and show it to you. So, and this is a free pattern on Ravelry.
And free is good.
Free is always good. Wide Rib DK Weight Socks by Erica Saint. And you guys, you want to see how much I've I've knit this pattern. Look at all my hash marks.
Bunch of chicken scratch.
Right? Alright, so the yarn I'm using for toes, heels, and cuffs is that Mad Tosh that I used on the last pair. And then some Leading Men Fiber Arts DK. It is, the colorway is You Betcha. That's Leading Men Fiber Arts. They have their own website. He also has a podcast called Dramatic Knits. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And I find I have to keep putting these away because I will, and I think I talked about this last time, when I start a pair of these, like, I kind of just want to sit there and finish them. So I keep making myself putting them away. So that's the start of them there. And it's doing some weird pooling, so you got it like darker on that side, lighter on that side, so yeah. So another pair for Phil. And I've been collecting up DK yarn. I definitely have enough now, I think, to finish his box of socks. And I could just hold fingering double as well, but one left. No. And this is another one you guys have seen me knit a lot. Although I still get questions about it all the time. I had somebody ask me about it, I think, after the last podcast. It is the Point Edwards Mitts. And that is, you use DK weight yarn in this as well. Of course, I do not use DK weight yarn. I use fingering and I hold it double. And this time I am using Lady Furnico. And it doesn't really have a name. It's one of a kind. For colorway, she put green with blue speckles. And that's what it looks like. And I always laugh because it doesn't really look green to me. It looks blue with blue speckles. Do you see green?
I mean, kinda. It's very light.
Yeah. Well, you know me. You know me with how I see colors. I see no green whatsoever.
I guess it would just depend on the lighting, really.
Yeah. So, on these, I got the cuff done. So now I will be going into doing the hand. So, and I've knit so many of these, I can pretty much knit them in my sleep. These and that wide-ribbed sock I have knit a ton of. I'm trying to make it so I don't lose my knitting needles in there. 'Cause this is
What, are you doing it wrong?
What do you mean?
From that lady that time that told you were doing it wrong or something with the amount of needles.
Where were we at? Oh, it was...
I don't think I was there.
You weren't with.
I think I was working.
Oh, I think it was in the, at the hospital when Mom was getting a procedure done. I was sitting there, I started a pair of Journey socks. And I was knitting them on DPNs. And at the beginning, when you're doing the heel, you just use the 2 DPNs. And I had a lady that was sitting there that told me I was doing it wrong because I didn't have enough needles going. And I'm like, well, in a little bit, I'll add a third one in. And then after a while, then I'll use 4. And she's like, well, I've always used 5. You're doing it wrong. Okay. And then she just kept watching and watching me. And then thankfully they called her back that her husband or whoever she was with was ready for visitors. Because, yeah, I felt like...
Okay, see you, bye.
I was on, like, candid camera. Like I could just feel her watching me and just, like, disapproving of how I was knitting. And I'm like, gosh. So, yeah, that was a little weird. I forgot about that. That's all my whips. We ran through it today. Look at that. Well, not too bad. 45 minutes. All right. I really need a drink. Acquisitions. I had saved some of the stuff out of Laura's box that she sent me that I did not show you last time because there was just so much. And it is in the bag that she made for me. Let's see what's in here. I don't even remember. I think I showed you guys all of the yarn, and then this is kind of like random. Okay. So in here, which this will be a fun one, I got a new word search puzzle book, and it's FBI, Real Stories of Crimes Solved. And it's my favorite type with the spiral. So yeah, this will be fun. She sent me some Erin Lane project bags. So let's see. Alright, there's a Care Bear Sheeples bag. Let me open this. And it has the straps. And then this is the type, you can kind of see this here. It's not going to do it now very well because there's nothing in it, but you can pull that down and make it into like a bucket. Or you pull it up and it's more of a tote. But it's kind of hard to show when there's like nothing in there. So then it gets bigger. And then I thought there was another Care Bear one. Yes. There's a zippered one that's also like that. And that's in the Care Bear Sheeples. There's a strawberry shortcake bag, drawstring bag from, this has got to be Fate's Thread. Yes, Fate's Thread. I knew because of the interface they use. How funny that I can know that just from how stiff a bag is, whose it is. So, strawberry shortcake. You guys know I love strawberry shortcake. So there's that. What else was in there? Oh, a Gilmore Girls, Luke's Diner mug. Oh, it says Luke's Diner on the inside, too. Stars Hollow. I didn't notice that. Well, wasn't that fancy? For your keys. Or you can use it as a... no, this one you couldn't use as a zipper pull. Darn it. It's by Happy Bag Co. Handmade in Michigan. HappyBagCo.com. Bethany is her name. Oh, some slap bracelets, but my granddaughter is not getting these. Because these actually are a measuring tape. So I could actually keep them in my bag. Project bags, and actually have a measuring tape with me. They are from Two Moms Craft Shack. And I have 2 of them, both in pink. They do come in other colors, I know. Is this the last item? Okay. And then a blanket that says, "This is my Gilmore Girls watching blanket." So, isn't that cute? It's a fuzzy blanket. Okay, so that was the... Oh, my allergies are awful today. That was the rest of the box from Laura. Ooh. Get back in there. Alright, something like that. Good enough. Ooh. I'm running out of room. And I don't think I have... I did buy 1 skein of DK from a D-stash, but I already put it in my cubbies. It was just kind of like a plain. You'll see it when I knit with it. But we went thrifting. Big shocker, right?
We always do.
And I found some goodies. And I think this was the day, like one of the days that you didn't find anything, and then I had a handbasket full. I can't get it out. Okay. All right. So the first trip, I got some sugars and cream. A whole big cone of it, guys. For $2.99. No, yeah, $2.99. And then I got some 4 little sugars and cream, and it's their Christmas one with the red, white, and green, which I know I've had that before. And then I got 2 dishcloth books. The first one is actually by Lily Sugar and Cream, the best of Lily dishcloths to knit and crochet. So there's knitting and crochet in there. So I went ahead and picked that up. It was only 99 cents. And then there was another one, which was also 99 cents. And this one is just dishcloths to crochet. And it looks like there's... Did that lady... Is that... Oh, maybe that's printed on there. No. Did somebody write that on there?
Sure looks like it, yeah.
But yet, when I looked at it on the other side, it almost looks like it's printed. Isn't that weird?
No, I think that's all
Okay, so
written
somebody...
on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this one has a bunch of... Oh, yeah, because she labeled them. Well, isn't that smart? Then I know which one's which. This is actually by the Lily Sugar and Cream as well. And it's the crochet dishcloths. And what I was talking about, you can see they're next to each dishcloth, they're not
Letters.
Lettered, thank you. I'm like, not numbers. It should on the back side too. And when you open it up, she labeled each one, so you'll be able to see like what each letter looks like. So that was kind of smart. So there's that. So that was our first trip. Our next trip, they put out another cone. And this one was only $1.99. So it was $1 cheaper. Does this have a... I don't know that these... Oh, this is actually peaches and cream. This one was sugars and cream, wasn't it, or something? Yeah. So this one's sugars and cream. This one's peaches and cream. And it doesn't look like it has a color. Oh, yeah, it does. It's called 147 Shaded Brown. And you know who'll like this one? Those are Karen's colors. So Karen, I have a whole cone. And then I found something that was in like the bag section. Are you laughing already? Because he was in his section and I was like, look, honey. And I showed it to him and he knew right away I was going to get it. It was by like the little pouches and stuff, and it's actually a sunglass case, but I'm going to use it to put like knitting notions and stuff in. Guys, look how cute. Okay, first off, a Yorkie. Second off, sparkles. And it sparkles all around. And like I said, it's a eyeglass case, but I will put like some knitting notions or whatever in there. Ooh, and not try to snap off my finger. Yow.
She'll probably snap off her finger.
And what was that? That was that 99 cents?
I think it
or
was $1, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like $1. So, yeah. I couldn't leave a little Yorkie there. I just couldn't do it. So that was my thrifting.
I don't have any of my thrifting, so sorry.
Some of your thrifting you brought back. Because he bought stuff that he thought was something and it ended up being something else. So.
Whatever.
And he pretty much. Oh my God, my foot's going to sleep because this bag is sitting on it. He pretty much gets like electronics Well, we did get something else, but half of that ended up in the garbage. Our boozy bears.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah, so...
Some little Boozy Bears kit that basically has Jell-O packets in it and a silicone tray, whatever you want to call it, of shaped like gummy bears. And then you mix the water and then put alcohol in it, which isn't much, and then set it up just like normal Jell-O in the fridge for an hour. And we go to try to take them out of there, and they did not want to come out. So
I was a mess.
It was a mess.
I was a mess. By the time I got done, all my fingers were sticky. I'm like, open the garbage can, and I threw the tray away in there. Although, okay, we must confess, I didn't completely read the directions correctly.
Yeah. Spray it with whatever.
Cooking oil.
Cooking oil.
We didn't do that. So that could have been part of the problem.
But I think that would just make the gummy bears nasty, too. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. Because, I mean, Jell-O, like, if you're just doing Jell-O, you don't spray it with anything. So I don't yeah.
It sounded great at the time, but...
It was one of those things where you're at the thrift store and then you're like, oh, isn't this cool? And then you kind of got home and you're like, oh. Because he had to sit there with a dropper and fill all of the little gummy bears.
All 50 of them.
So that was kind of a pain also. So, yeah, no. We're not doing that again. Not going to happen.
So instead we made some alcoholic cherries.
We did. Oh my gosh.
That was real easy.
No, it wasn't. Because we couldn't find the cherries at the grocery store. So
Once
that was kind
easy.
of problematic.
Well, that's because it's Myers.
If you're looking for cherries in the grocery store, look by the ice cream stuff. You know, ice cream toppings and cones, because that's where we found them. Nowhere else. Because we wanted like a jar of them, not fresh cherries. So, but other than that, yeah, that was easy. I would assume. I was packing orders when you did that. I just opened the jars and I ate 2 cherries and then I said it was your turn. That was my part of it. I was done. Alrighty. What's left? TV watching. Yes. Okay. So I'm back to watching Profiler. I had finished season 2. And then my friend sent me season 3 and 4, which I was eagerly awaiting. I was texting him at work.
My package didn't come yet.
And I was prepped. I got up that morning. I went to the gym, got home, did my sewing, thinking, okay, I'll have all afternoon to watch the Profiler, and yeah, my package didn't come. Well, it was probably held up.
Didn't show up till like a day or 2 later either, so.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, I got it now. So I was watching that. So I had a little lull where I didn't have that, so I had to find something else to watch. So I started watching Ozark with Jason Bateman. Not a family show. Any warning that they could put up on the screen, they put up there. Nudity, violence, drugs, smoking. I mean, anything that you can think of is in it. So, not a child-appropriate show at all. I am now on season 2 of it. So, it's good. I like Jason Bateman, so, I mean, there's that. Oh, we did buy something else at the thrift store.
I don't remember what it was called.
We got some another series, which I've actually watched. I don't think I've watched the whole series. Like, I think I've seen some of it. The Dead Zone. And it was nice because the DVD box, it's just, for the whole entire series, it's all in just one box, which was really nice. Versus having, like, 4 boxes or 5 boxes or whatever. So we
It's
did
a fold out thing, and there's like 2 discs snapped on each location. So except for the very last one,
so
has one.
me, I find it, then I hand it to him. He's got to check the disc. He's got to count them and make sure
they're all there. Can't do it herself.
Well, I mean, isn't that what you're there for?
No.
Oh. Other than that, most of the regular shows have had season finales, so there hasn't been a lot of regular TV watching. I am still watching MasterChef Junior, and then the regular MasterChef had I think it's MasterChef Returns. It has some of the old chefs back. Come Dance With Me, I'm still watching that. Other than that, that's about it. I'd ask you what you watch on TV, but you pretty much watch YouTube.
Yeah. Anymore, about 90% of what I watch is on YouTube. So, and it's mostly like automotive channels kind of stuff.
Don't you have one series, though, you need to finish up? The one I told you that Netflix picked up?
Oh, The Manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still have 4 episodes from the last season still recorded on my DVR and haven't watched them yet. So.
And he thought it was over. Yeah,
because nothing new has been recorded. Yeah. So.
But I told him, yeah, no, that went to Netflix. And when did I say it was coming out? November, I think, was the next season, possibly. Is that what I told you?
I don't know.
I Googled it the other day, so he knew when he needs to catch up with that. So are you enjoying Manifest? My sister watches it, and she really liked it.
I'm having trouble remembering any details of it right now, but I know it was getting very interesting with kind of what the things that were going on. But
so it's one of those shows that really grabs you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. So Manifest, guys, if you haven't checked it out. Brett's little TV review. Well, he mainly watches YouTube. So, I mean, yeah. You used to watch more TV, but you just don't anymore.
Yeah.
You watch The Connors.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's still things that I record on DirecTV and, the DVR, but I don't tend to watch it very much. I mean, right now, I think I only have about 20% available of my thing left, so I need to start watching some of it. But,
that's bad.
Well, and I cut back on stopping recording a bunch of stuff because I do watch just so much YouTube instead.
Well, when I was waiting for the the DVDs to come from Kevin, I had my DVR down to it was empty.
Well,
I had nothing on there to watch. I'm like,
I've been through there where you only had one episode of Days of Our Lives on there or something. I'm like, what?
Well, because a lot of the shows now, all the Law and Orders and NCISs and all that, they're done for the season. So NCIS. I'm laughing about the thing at dinner. So yeah, I was all caught up.
You didn't want to tell them about that thing at dinner?
Oh my gosh. You try to tell them because it's just crazy. The things that happen when we go out to eat.
Well, there's a actor on, she watches these, crime, whatever type shows and that. And I've been walking through there before and I see this actor and I was thinking that it was, what show was it I was thinking that it was from?
Buck Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, somebody you watch.
I was thinking the actor was the main person in Buck Rogers from forever ago.
And I'm like, I've never heard of Buck Rogers.
And I basically wound up getting it confused.
So he looks up Buck Rogers and he sees the main character.
And I'm like,
and he's like, that's not it. And I look at it and I'm like, I've never watched anything with this guy in it. He's like, well, I gotta be confused. So then I start going through all my shows.
Was it this person?
Was it this person?
Was it this person?
Was it this person?
And I'm like, no.
And I pulled up every NCIS that I currently watch. It was the guy from NCIS New Orleans, and it was not Buck Rogers. He was thinking of Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
How we even managed to figure this out?
We were back and forth with our phones, and she's showing me this, and I'm looking
It really
at
cut into
this,
my knitting time, guys. I probably could have had that sock done had we not had this whole... Because this lasted through our whole meal. And he'd get quiet, and, like, we wouldn't talk about it, and the next thing I know, he's like, that's really bothering me.
It was.
That I can't remember. So, I'm back on my phone again. And, I tried asking him, well, when was I watching it? Was it recently? Or, well, I don't know. Well, I think New Orleans, what I say, ended in 21 or 20 or something. Like, It hasn't been on it. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while. So.
I just know that I've seen him on her TV as I'm walking through. So, I don't know when it was, but...
So, yeah, this is what happens. Oy, oy, oy. Well, and then we get into the whole, oh, do you remember this show? Oh, do you remember this show? And then we walk into Goodwill, and they're playing the theme song from The Greatest American Hero. Believe
it or not.
I was walking through the whole store singing it. People are probably like, really? Well, there's probably plenty of people that have never heard that or don't connect it with The Greatest American Hero. And
yeah.
Like a lot of people have never even heard of Greatest American Hero.
It's from quite a while ago, so.
It was good. It was one of those shows that was, yeah. We used to watch it every week. That was back before DVRs.
Yeah, way before.
If you weren't going to be home, you had to try to figure out how to send your VCR out to record. Or you missed it.
You didn't want your VCR just flashing 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
And there was no going back. Like, if it didn't record, you missed that episode.
Mm-hmm.
There was nowhere to go to, stream it. We're spoiled now.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of did that when I bought that, the Dead Zone. We're in line at the Goodwill, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think to look it up. I, might be able to just stream it for free, but then I'm like, it's okay.
It was only $10 for
the whole
entire series.
So, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. Other than, it is kind of a pain in the butt, because I have that with, when I've watched other shows, and now again with Profiler. Some of the discs have like 3 shows on it, and some of them have 4 shows. Well, I feel like I'm always having to get up. It's like, man, I wonder if I could train the rabbit to change a disc for me. No?
No. No. Not a chance.
No? Okay.
I mean, she'd probably try and eat it.
Yeah, she would eat it. That's the only downside of that. Whereas if you're streaming it, you don't have to get up off your couch.
You poor thing. Back in the days when TVs didn't used to have remotes and you had to get up and turn the knob to go to the channel.
I'm not
when you only had 2 through 13 for channels.
I'm not old enough to remember
come
that.
on.
No, I think we always had remotes that I remember.
Wow.
I'm not as old as you.
Ooh, 2.5 years difference. Wow.
Well, obviously it makes a difference if you poor thing didn't have a remote.
No.
So, and I'm laughing as I'm watching Profiler because you can tell how old it is. The cell phones, now that there's actually cell phones in it, are big. And he opens it and then pulls the antenna up. Every time he does that whole antenna thing, I start laughing. I'm like, that is hysterical. Because yet again, we're very spoiled.
That's the way things were.
Now we're like, what did we do before we had iPhones and Google and what people, if they were having that debate about that actor.
Yeah, and you'd have to try and talk to somebody else and ask them and see if they knew, because
there was no Google.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And like back when I was a kid, you used to just have like encyclopedias stacked up all over the place, but something like that ain't gonna be in an encyclopedia.
My house when I was younger had those blue ones. Do you know the ones I'm talking about? Oh my gosh. I
think mine were more like a beige with like a brown and gold edge.
And I saw them actually at a Goodwill of all places. And I started laughing, and I almost showed them to you because I was like, I had those blue encyclopedia set. Let's see if it's the right ones. No. Because they were like a shiny, and they had... No, these are not. Okay, well, maybe if I think about it, I'll try to find them before the next podcast. Somebody out there is going, I know what you're talking about. Because they were like a bright blue, and they were, like the encyclopedias, sometimes you see are like this. These were like coloring book size.
Well, the ones I had were big. I mean, they were like, big, tall. So I don't know what little ones you're talking about.
Old blue encyclopedia.
Old. So now you are old.
Oh, you're older than me. Okay, so do you want to tell them what you've been up to this week? Or last 2 weeks?
Just the pressure washing stuff?
Sure. This is the, life section. What have you been up to?
Well, I mean, initially it kind of started off with the whole nightmare I had of the trying to make the adapters. Remember that whole fiasco?
Yes. He was not having luck 3D printing the adapters for the shop.
Something that I've done for quite a while, And the program I used was giving me fits, and
Giving you fits.
I tried a new version. I went back to an old version. I completely wiped it out. I erased all of it, started it over, re-imported all my settings and all that kind of stuff, and tried again. And every time I went to print them, they were messing up. So kind of hard to explain. But they're basically oozing and bubbling and making a very poor print. So, and I kept just going rounds and rounds with that, trying to figure out what was going wrong. I thought it was something with my printer, but long story short, it wasn't, and I just tried a new slicer program, and it's been fine ever since. So, no idea what happened to my old one.
I cannot find them, but do you remember these? Okay, my sister's watching. I know she's watching. Linda, I'm fairly certain you remember the encyclopedias I'm talking about. If you think about it and can find a picture, send it to me.
I've never...
I did find these. Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
You remember
I remember hearing that, but... And then I've been pressure washing things, just, our back patio area. Pressure washed all the concrete on there, and we have these little bench seat. They're like the plastic, like vinyl fencing type material, and they're benches, but they fold up, and if you put them together, you can make a picnic table out of them. And of course, they get grimy and dirty and that, so pressure washing them, and pressure wash the sidewalk out in front of the house. And today I just wound up pressure washing all of the porch. So I've been pressure washing a lot of stuff.
It's a convertible picnic table is what they call it. I was looking to see if they had the one that we have, but they do not. Ours is, like you said, out of like a white, like the PVC fencing. But basically, you can kind of see that picture there, how the guy's folding up the picnic table and it turns into a bench. That's what it is, but it's white, like PVC.
That was wood.
This was wood, yeah. I couldn't
They have
white.
wood ones also, but that's, of course, a lot heavier also. So
plus more to take care of. Yeah, because
Not
picnic
really.
tables and stuff, the wood rots, and then you have to replace boards or get rid of it.
I mean,
or
if
get
you
new,
pressure
or-
wash it and clean it, and
It was always a pain when Mom had the wood tables. You got to put stuff on them and all that. And let's face it, it's not going to happen around here. Our one little patio and table and chairs needed repainted again, and we were just like, no, we put it out to the curb for the junkers. We're like, we're not doing it. We hate to paint.
Yep.
Hate to paint. We will probably never paint another thing in this house. If anything needs painted, we will be paying somebody to paint it. That's how strongly we feel about us not painting.
I absolutely hated painting this room when Alisha left.
We can hire Joan. She loves to paint. That's just nuts.
Not for me. Don't like painting.
we had to do that little bitty utility room, and we got like, what, maybe like not even a quarter of it done. It was a little bitty room, and we looked at each other and was like, do you know anybody you can call to come over? This was not the smartest idea. But yet, I painted the whole kitchen by myself. I don't know. After having to take, like, how many layers of wallpaper down? There was at least 4 or 5. There was a lot of wallpaper up in there. So, alrighty. I haven't been doing that much. Sewing, knitting. Start going back to the gym, using their track. Doing some walking, some running. Some babysitting. Took Peanut to knit night. That was interesting. They enjoyed her. I haven't had anything else going on, have I?
Did she say knitting? Because there's always knitting.
Oh, we went out and about. No, not yesterday. What day did we go to Bloomington?
Friday.
We went on a fabric run again. So there'll be some new fabrics coming up. Not as many as what I had hoped, but we got some good ones.
Just kind of all depends on what she has at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, plus you've been buying a lot of them, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I need you to refresh your selection a little bit quicker for me, please. Well, I only used to go up there, maybe once a year, if even.
Down.
Or down, yeah. I always do that. And now we tend to go there. I mean, this is already our second or third time this year. So.
It's about 2 hours away from us. We've been there on the motorcycle before. And
yeah. We took the car the other day, though.
Mm-hmm. We took it the last time, too, when it was torrential rainstorm.
And they love talking to him in there. I think it's hilarious. So I listen to them chatting to him as I walk around looking at fabric, just giggling. And they never remember us, so we have to have the same conversation every time we go.
Yeah. Well, she kind of remembered this time when she saw my car.
Well, and then, of course, there was a new lady there that wasn't familiar with me at all, and she wanted to talk quilts with me, and I finally, because it's a quilt fabric warehouse, and I finally was just like, yeah, I don't quilt. Like, I know how to quilt. That's a lot of time to quilt, and it's not something like it's not that I hate it, but I don't really enjoy it.
Well, you're kind of sort of doing it with those
the scrappy bags.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really exactly the same, but
right.
It looks kind of like it's, a quilted thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, not something.
Look at me go, I kind of know something.
See, he knows about sewing too, guys. Did you know this? He's also the man when you've seen bags in the shop that have vinyl on them, like we've put like sayings on them or whatever, or sheep. He's the Cricut man too. I don't have anything to do with the Cricut. That's him. He's also one that takes the pictures for the shop. I think what else you have packed orders before.
Ship them, take them with me, drop them off.
So he's very involved in the shop. He's very involved, I would have to say, in the podcast because and me and Karen have talked about it before. We're very spoiled. We just have to have the content and sit down and do it. He sets, like I set the room up. He sets the camera up. When we're done, we tell him. He goes and does all his magic on the computer and puts it up and all that. That has nothing to do with us. So when he's popping up funny things or whatever, yeah, that's him.
That's me.
So, alrighty. Well, I think that's all we have for you today. Do you want to tell him to do the YouTube stuff? Because I always get it wrong.
That'll be right over here. And with a like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
And then go to Etsy and check out Knit for Brains Designs. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.